Hi, this is Math-7. Okay, so this video is on percents. The second packet, page 40 and page 43, I want to show you the two examples. Okay, when you look at the first one, number 2, 40 is what percent of 180? And then there is this box divided into two parts. One is use the percent equation, the other one is to use a proportion. So what it's asking you to do is to solve this problem using two different ways. Okay, so for percent equation, it takes this form. Part equals percent as a decimal times whole. And then as for proportion, it takes this form. Percent over 100, which is your percent in form of a fraction, equals part over whole. Okay, so let's look at this problem. So 40 is what percent of 180? Okay, so it's asking you what percent it is 40 out of 180. Okay, so that means 40 is your part. So let me mark it down. So 40 is the part, and then 180 is the whole. And what percent is what you're looking for. Okay, so for the percent equation, let's just plug all those parts, all these elements into the formula. Okay, so part is 40. So you write down 40 equals, percent is what you're looking for, so I'm just going to call it x, times whole. Whole is 180. Okay, so we have 40 equals x times 180, or 180x. Your first step is to isolate the variable. You need to single out x here on one side in order to find out what x is, because you have all the other things here that you don't really need. So this is x times 180. In order to single it out, you would want to divide each side by 180 just to get rid of it. So let me show you. So divide by 180, and then divide by 180. Okay, the reason why I do this is when you see 180 as part of your numerator and then 180 as your denominator, you can just cancel them out because 180 divided by 180 equals 1. So this is just 1, so you don't need that. Okay, so this is x. And then the other side is 40 over 180, which is a fraction. You can simplify that to, okay, so this is 4 over 18, and you can simplify it one more time, which is 2/9. Okay, x equals 2/9. 2/9 doesn't really look like a percent to me. It looks like a fraction. So what you're supposed to do at this point is to convert this fraction into percent. Okay, I'm running out of room, so I'm just going to go out of the box here. At this point, you could grab your calculator and do 2 divided by 9. And when you do 2 divided by 9, you're going to get a repeating decimal. It's going to be 0.22222 repeating. So let's just change this 0.222 as a percent because this is also 0.222 like that. Okay, so when you change a decimal to percent, you would multiply this decimal by 100%. So when you do 0.222222 times 100, it is the same as moving the decimal point over to the right 2 times. So you have 22.22222%. Okay, so x equals 22.2, let's just put repeating here, percent. Okay, so this is your answer to the first box. Now, let's use a proportion. Okay, so the formula here is percent over 100 equals part over whole. Percent is what you're looking for. So this time I'm going to call it A. Okay, so A over 100 equals part over whole. Part is 40 over 180. Okay, I still want to single out the variable here. I'm not going to use cross product this time. Okay, so You look at this fraction, a over 100. The denominator is 100. To single out the variable, you want to change the denominator to 1, but then you cannot just grab your eraser and then change this to 1. So you have to multiply both sides by 100. Okay, so let me show you. So you do 100 over 1 times a over 100 on one side, on the left side. And then the right side is still the same, 40 over 180. But one thing, when you do something to one side of an equation, you have to do the same thing to the other side in order for it to be fair. Okay, so I'm going to multiply 100 over 1 to the right side as well. So now you have 100 times a over 1 times 100. That means it is 100a over 100. Then I can just cancel the 100. Then what is left on the left side is just going to be a. Okay, I'm going to move this over down here, running out of space. Okay, so this is a equals, now the other side, 40 over 180 times 100. You can cross cancel, you can reduce it like that, so you can reduce this to, let's say, 2 nines. So you have 2 nines. So 2 nines times 100. I'll write it down here, make it easier to see. So you have 2 nines times 100. And then you get 200 over 9. And now you can get your calculator. And then you'll find that 200 divided by 9 is going to be 22.2 repeating. And then when you notice that this number, originally it came from a over 100. So this is actually the numerator of your percent. So this is actually your final answer then. So your answer is 22.2 repeating percent, so 22.2%. You don't have to convert it to percent again because this is originally your percent. Okay, so you have your answer here. And then we're going to talk about the next problem. Okay, this is number 9. You want to leave a tip for a meal that costs $17.95. If all you have is $3, what percentage tip will you be able to leave? When I look at this question, I find it quite funny. If you only have $3, then you can't even afford a meal, but whatever. I think they mean that so after paying for the $17.95, you only have $3 left. Okay, so let's just assume it's this way. So again, you have to use a percent equation and then to use a proportion to find the answer. Okay, so we have the two formats here, the two formulas. For a percent equation, it is part equals percent times whole. And then for proportion, it is percent over 100 equals part over whole. Okay, so let's analyze this problem. The meal is $17.95. So this should be your whole. And then if you have $3, so let's just say you want to tip your $3. So that is going to be the part. And then what percentage? That's the percent. Okay, so let's plug in the elements into the percent equations. Okay, so part is 3. So you have 3 equals, percent is what you don't know, so I'll just make it x, times whole, $17.95. Okay, so you have this equation. 3 equals 17.95x. Okay, remember when you have an equation with a variable, to find the answer, you want to single out the variable. So in this case, you want to get rid of 17.95. And in order to get rid of it, you will divide because you want to turn this into 1. So you divide 17.95x by 17.95. Do the same to the left side, 17.95. Okay, then the right side becomes, you can cancel 17.95 now. The right side becomes just 1x, and I will only write it as x. And the left side is 3 over 17.95. Okay, so now you can grab your calculator and then do 3 divided by 17.95, or if you're using long division, make sure that 3 goes into the division house. Okay, so you should have your answer, which is 0.167 something. And then you convert it to percent. So multiply this by 100%, which is 16.7%. Okay, so 16% tip, that's not too bad. Now, let's look at the proportion part. So percent over 100, and percent is what you're looking for. Okay, so I'm not going to use the same variable to represent percent in the proportion part. I'm just going to call it x this time. Okay, so x over 100 equals part over whole, so 3 over 17.95. Okay, so in this case, when you single the variable, you are going to get rid of 100. So the denominator is 100. In order to change it to 1, you will have to multiply this side by 100. And to be fair, you are going to multiply 100 to both sides. Okay, so let's just do 100 over 1 times a over 100 equals 3 over 17.95 times 100 over 1. Okay, so you see that I'm just multiplying 100 over 1 to both sides, so I'm not changing the value, but by doing so, I could get rid of all the other stuff and leave only a on this side. Okay, so I'm canceling out the 100. And then the other side, 3 times 100 is going to give you 300. Okay, so more space. So I'm moving this down. So it is, on the left side is A, the right side is 300 over 17.95. And you notice how similar this fraction is to this one. And this already have 100 included into the fraction. So that is why in the end, you wouldn't have to multiply your answer by 100% to change the percent, because the percent is already embedded in this answer. Okay, so you could grab your calculator, or you don't have to because you already did this part. So A here equals 16.7%. Okay, so you have your answer, 16.7% tip. And that's it for this video.